Welcome to The Business Fighter with Henry Penix. Henry has been the CEO, founder, and consultant to hundreds of companies worldwide. He retired a multimillionaire, financially independent at the age of 35. Henry grew up a preacher's son and was thrown in jail 3 times for various altercations. He knows what it means to come from nothing and have to fight his way to the top. Henry is the business fighter who will teach you strategic skills for winning in business and in life. Don't just spectate, participate. It's time to get in the ring.
Hi, this is Henry Penix, the business fighter. You're on my podcast. We've got Caya Craft with us today, Mommy Millionaire. She's reaching thousands of women, millions of women all over the world. She's a mom of 3. I'm a dad of 3, by the way. She's a self-made millionaire and lifestyle entrepreneur. She's native of California. She used to be an ER nurse, and she went from helping people in the ER to helping women pursue their passion of owning their own business. She's helped thousands of women start to believe in themselves as entrepreneurs and business women. So she created Mommy Millionaire to fill a void of a community driven by women searching to grow from good to great. I love that. She's going to get you from good to great. Mommy Millionaire seeks to pour out practical tips and business know-how that is current and relevant to what is working today. I am so thrilled to have you on this podcast, Cayla. Thank you for taking your time.
I am so excited to be here.
Good. You had me on a few weeks ago, and I guess you weren't totally embarrassed, so you agreed to come on my podcast.
It was a good time, and everybody loved you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That's awesome. Something that I've promised to give my listeners and my viewers are people with heart. And people who have heart know what I'm talking about. People who don't have heart normally don't make it on my podcast. But heart means that you're doing it more for money, you're not doing it just for money. You're doing it more for that. You're doing it to actually help and change people's lives. And when you get with people like that, you can tell it in about the first 5 seconds that you meet them. I know when I was on your show and the things that you were asking me, wanting to get to the heart of the matter, and everything was backed by wanting to help somebody else achieve their dreams and goals. Like, that's huge. So if you don't mind, I would love to pick your brain a little bit. I had 1,000 questions I wanted to ask you on my interview, but I wasn't the one with the mic. So, I'd love to kind of get into your story a little bit first. And then I want to paint a picture of kind of a couple of scenarios dedicated to particularly moms, whether they're single moms or working moms or married moms or whatever, that just want to make a name for themselves, want to have a future for themselves, and maybe have been held back by fear or misunderstanding or things that their parents or coaches have told them in the past that's not necessarily true. I know you overcame a ton of that, and I want to get into that. But first, can you tell people how they can reach you, and then kind of dive into how you got started? What made you Mommy Millionaire?
Yeah. So everybody can find me on my own podcast show called The Mommy Millionaire Show. Okay. And also, I'm on Instagram, Caya Craft on there. I live on the gram.
Yeah. I love your marketing and branding, by the way. I looked at it just recently a couple times, and my gosh, that is like spot on.
Thank you.
It's hard to do right.
Yeah, I have a really great team that helps me, So, to get to your question about how did this all get started? And right. I think you have to, in order to understand me and why I've been so successful, you have to kind of understand where I came from. And, it goes all the way back to me being 5 years old. My parents got a divorce and my dad went to jail. He was a drug addict.
Oh my gosh.
You can imagine being 5 years old and having a traumatic event like that happen. And then my mom went on to date like alcoholics. And so I just lived in a life of uncertainty. And what that causes people to do that live around, addiction is it makes you want to be in control. And I remember being 8 years old. I broke my arm, and I remember looking down and seeing the deformity and being in pain, but looking up at my mom and saying, "Mom, I know we don't have insurance. Don't take me to the ER. I'll be fine."
Oh my God.
And she looked at me with this face just full of shame, with like tears welling up in her eyes. Like Sure. She was devastated. And that was the moment right then and there. Like I was like, I will never struggle financially. And I'm going to help every single mom when I grow up never have to look at their kids like my mom just looked at me.
Wow.
So, that's why I'm so passionate about helping people have financial freedom. I started working when I was 10 years old and, it just never stopped. And that's why, you could tell I'm a heart-centered person. Like, there's a lot easier ways to make money than the way that I do it, I feel like.
Yes.
But I'm doing this, as part of my mission to help more people experience financial abundance. And that's what we do at Mommy Millionaires. We just give people the tools and the strategy, because I've been in this for almost a decade now, and there's a big gap, but I want to help those people. It's like you can get all the way to the top of the mountain, but like you're not fulfilled unless you're reaching your hand out to help bring more people up with you. And so that's Absolutely. What I'm just like so excited about.
Wow. No, I love that. I do speaking and consulting all over the world. And I just had a guy on my podcast yesterday from Budapest, and same thing. He had been, in front of probably 7, 8 different countries and world leaders. And we got to the end of his podcast and we realized that, people are the same all over. They want to be loved. They want to be appreciated. They want to be treated right. Mm-hmm. And they want what's best for them. And some people get stymied by fear. They get stymied by what other people say about them, what other people, and the thing about it is once you start getting some success and people see you, then all of a sudden, some people who you thought were your buddies almost turn on you. And now all of a sudden you're the bad guy just because you're doing good. Like a lot of people want you to do great as long as it's not better than them, and I say that in all humility, but sometimes that keeps a person back from being their best because they want to fit in. They don't want to get out from the crowd. I want to get into some of that. I'm envisioning in my mind, let's talk about moms, since you're Mommy Millionaire. I'm envisioning in my mind maybe a single mom or even a married mom that has maybe been put down, maybe tried to start 2 or 3 things before and failed, maybe failed miserably. And these are nuggets that I'm sure you have people paying you thousands of dollars to get a part of, but share just a couple on this podcast of what you would do to help a person get through that. And did you go through some of that?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, because it would be easy for me to sit here and say, just do this, stop talking to those people. But in order to have the right to say that, I did go through that. And that's one of the things I admire about you, Henry, too, is you only talk about things really that you've gone through and that you're like personally
Absolutely.
have overcome.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I first started my business, I was working as a nurse and, just kind of living an average life. And there's nothing wrong with average. But again, I was looking for financial freedom. And so when I started my side business, every mom that I was friends with suddenly uninvited me from play dates. My best friends ghosted me basically.
Oh, man.
And my spouse was completely unsupportive and was making fun of me doing this. And so I get the heat, I understand what it feels like to go, oh my gosh, am I really willing to give all this up in order to go up? And the answer for me was absolutely. I was willing to let go of those friends in order to live my dream life. And
which really weren't your friends.
Right. And that's that's what you find out over time. But when you're in that moment, you're so scared.
Yep.
And the reason why you're so scared is because you're still dependent on your happiness coming from other people. And so when I was 23, I just realized my happiness comes from the Lord. First of all, my joy is coming from him. And he's put this dream in me. And so I just have to go and know that he's going to pave the path for me and bring people in my life that are going to help me get there. And that's exactly what happened. So it's you can't focus on the fear. You can't focus on that feeling of loss because when you focus on something, you just get more and more of it. You keep feeling that grieving feeling.
The things you fear the most come upon you. That's in the Bible. Yep.
Yes. So it's you focus on faith. And just knowing that everything's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't see all the little dots connecting yet, but I'm just going to keep moving forward in faith. And so that's really all you have to do. We get so caught up in our heads and we need to just get caught up in the action of what it's going to take to get us closer to our dream life, just step after step after step. And I think of people kind of as books. we all have our favorite book, and then all of a sudden you're not too into that book. It's like it's going up on the shelf, right? You
Right.
get a new book out because you need to learn more. And people are just like books. You learn. People are mirrors for you. You get to learn from them. And sometimes you don't take them with you on every journey of your life. And so, it's a really good visual for people, because it's like, it's okay to not take everybody with you. But if you're in a group of 10 people and you're staring around at 9 other people living paycheck to paycheck, complaining about their life and unhappy in their marriages, just, they're just a mess. You're going to be the 10th person doing the same exact thing. So something's got to change.
Yep.
And so, you're not unique in your problems. When you decide that you want to become successful, every single one of us has to experience it.
I listened to a guy one time, and he was expressing that as kind of like envisioning a rocket, and a rocket has rocket boosters on the side. And those boosters were made to be on that rocket to get it to a certain height in the atmosphere. But after it gets to a certain height, those rocket boosters fall off because, number one, they weren't even designed to get past a certain level, and they've already done their job. So a lot of times we want to try to carry, isn't that great? So a lot of times we try to carry those rocket boosters with us, which never allows us to leave where we are today to get to where we want to be tomorrow.
Wow, that's good. I have to write that one down. I like
that. Yeah, it's something that I've tried to live, my life, and I've had different people in my circle of friends, and you do feel that loss. You do feel, sometimes when you feel like you've been alienated, and sometimes people are just darn jealous of you. I mean, they want you to be okay, but they don't want you to be too much better than them, because then that makes them uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, I don't care if you're a mommy or a daddy or whoever, when you're uncomfortable, when you start getting that restlessness, that should be your first indication that change is trying to enter your life. And then you've got only 2 decisions. You can either embrace that restlessness and say, that is pushing me to a higher level, let go of those rocket boosters and get on to something else in your life, that next level in your life. Or you try to hang on to it and you get comfortable with restlessness and you think, well, this is just the way it's going to be the rest of my life. And you've got the right to decide that. But if you do, you're never going to realize your full potential.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. So good.
I mean, don't you feel that? I mean, you've lived that.
100%. And I think it's like, when I first built my network marketing business when I was 23, I got new people to hang out with then. And then when I decided I was going to start Mommy Millionaire, I was like, those people weren't going to come on that journey with me, even though, they were all successful, but I needed new successful people in my life to get me to the next stage.
Absolutely.
And it's totally true. And when you look at it just like as we're all made for connection. And so don't you want to get to know as many people as possible? Why hang on to the same people all the time?
Yeah. And then that's not that you're dissing anyone, because I'll bring anyone along with me who wants to come along. But if you don't, I'm not going to kill myself trying to stay back with you either. That's a decision that you have to make. And I think it comes harder from parent figures, coaches, principals. I've counseled so many people all over the world, and I hear that same story. Well, my mom always said this about me. My dad always said this about me, or this event happened in my childhood, or I always had a coach that said I was never going to be anything. I mean, did you have any of those people in your life early on that tried to stop your growth?
I mean, yeah, I felt like the underdog my whole life. Just because I had 2 older brothers that would make fun of me. I had a stepdad that told me I was so ugly that he had to tie a pork chop around my neck to get even the dog to play.
To get a dog to play with you. I've heard that joke, but I would never say that to you.
It's from a John Wayne movie. And so what's funny about, he thought he was being funny, but you can't tell that to a 10-year-old girl, right? Hello, right?
No.
So, I've had a lot of things that I could hold on to those things, but those aren't things that are going to serve me. And so, I always tell everybody that I'm coaching or talking to is you have to question everything that you believe and
Absolutely.
ask if you really believe it, because those thoughts weren't going to serve me to get me to where I want to go. And a lot of us think things just because our parents said it or our grandparents said it or somebody at church said this, rich people are greedy. And it's I don't really believe that. A lot of rich people I know are really generous. So you have to change the way that you think about everything in order to go up.
It made me so mad. I was sitting on a board of a very big college, and I had been brought in to kind of help turn it around. And I won't mention what it was or who this person was, but a very well-known TV minister. I'll say that. And my dad's a pastor as well. So I kind of grew up in the faith, and I still have very strong faith. I'm all about relationship. I could do without some of the 7,000 religions that are out there, but relationship with your creator, I think, is number one. Let me just say that. But on that board, I heard things. You remember when Ellen came out with one of her first shows, and everybody was questioning her and all this and that. Oh, yeah. And I remember hearing them talk about, well, that's Ellen degenerate. That's not Ellen DeGeneres, and that's Ellen blah, 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 blah. And I hurt in my heart. And year after year, I saw that woman touch and give to 1 million times more people, to any minister that tried to put her down, like if things aren't centered in love and in trying to help people move forward and giving and gifting, I think you have to question it. Oh my gosh. So true. So true. So nobody would look at you today and say you had any problems. I mean, there's people, you're a beautiful girl, you're well-spoken, you've evidently got your stuff together because of all the great things that you're helping other people with. But you did go through the struggles. You did go through the problems. And you mentioned something in the middle of our interview. You said it was also my faith. For people who don't understand faith or what it means to believe in something that isn't until it is, spend a little time on that, because that's gotten me through some tough times where I've went up to the top of the mountain. I've been at the United Nations. I've done, all these things financially, but I've also been like down in the valley. And you only know how to get back up to the mountain if you've been in the valley in the first place. So when you said that it took a little faith and some of those tips and nuggets, explain that a little bit to our listeners. You know what? When you don't believe in something that's bigger than yourself, you're putting a lot of pressure on you. And that pressure is debilitating. It's debilitating. It's almost paralyzing. And so I always just put the pressure on God. That's what I do. I'm like, he's over there like making the way. And so all I need to do is step out of the way and trust him and just do what he's created me to do, which is love on people, be in my zone of genius, which is doing exactly what I'm doing right now, speaking. And I have a special gift of, if I'm speaking to you and I'm coaching you, when you leave, you're going to feel empowered to take action. I get people to move. And so I know that that's my gift. And I'm like, that's what I need to be spending all of my time doing. And God's going to open the doors that he wants to be opened, whether it's a TV show or whatever it is. Sure. Like I'm not worried about like life crumbling around me, because God's going to, if that happens, it's because God wanted it to happen to prove something. You know what I mean? Like that. Doesn't that take so much pressure off of you? It really does. And it gives you a freedom to really concentrate all of your energies on your gift and helping other people. And like you said earlier, and I want to bring this up again, you said there's a lot easier ways to make money, because when you do what you're doing, you have to expose yourself 24/7. It's like you can't stop for even a few hours, because then you're irrelevant, or people are going on to the next 1,000 people that are in their face every day. So I want people to understand that they see you as a very successful, very very beautiful woman, but they don't know the price that you pay to get there. And there's easier ways to do it, but you took almost the harder way, but it's the real way. It's from the heart. That's another reason how you can tell if something's from the heart or just for financial gain. If it wasn't from the heart, you couldn't do this 24/7. Oh no. You would really quick. That's why I always like some of the girls that are in my mastermind, they freak out because they'll get people that copy them. They'll, copy what they're saying, copy what they're doing. Right. And like, copycats, they fade out. I have people that copy me so often, and I don't worry about them, because when you're not being authentic to who you are and being in your zone of genius, you don't last, because this life is too hard, to be somebody that you're not. And so, everything I do, it's because I want to help more people just experience joy and experience that bliss that I get to feel. And even though it is like a big stress in my life, because I'm the type of person, like if you trust me to help you with your business and you don't do the action necessary to make it happen, I get stressed. And right. You know what I mean? I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. But it's just like, I'm learning to get better with that and go, okay, just release it. Sometimes do you believe in people more than they believe in themselves even? Oh, yes. I mean, I find myself doing that, and I put stress on me for the actions of other people.
Yeah.
Just what you said. I mean, it's crazy. You would have to just be of that mindset to know what I'm talking about, or you're talking about. But it's like sometimes I believe in that girl or that guy more than they believe in themselves. Like, I know you can do it. Just execute. Go.
It's easy for us to look at it because when you experience a lot of success, you realize how simple it all is. Because it's really not like complicated, really.
Yep.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to see it before it happens. And then you just take the action necessary. It's not rocket science. It really isn't, because anything is possible. And most people, they just overcomplicate everything. They get in their heads and they just think about all the things that could go wrong. And I'm like, if things go wrong, go to B, go to C, keep doing all
right. No, absolutely. Yeah. And if they go wrong for a reason. And if you continue down that path, you will learn from that quote unquote wrong or failure. Like, I don't even believe the word failure really exists. They asked Edison, how did you fail 10,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work. Mm-hmm. So if you're a discoverer and a learner, and everything that you go to, you're going to learn from and use it on your next deal, like, you can't help but be successful. I mean, it's like you said, it's not that hard. It's just executing. But very, very few people will take the steps and take the step day after day after day. If they get knocked down 5 times, you better get up 6. If you get knocked down 100, you better get up 101.
Mm-hmm. Just keep going.
So anyway, well, this is Henry Penix, the business fighter. I'm with Cayla. We have been talking about success. We've been talking about success principles that she has actually lived, coming from a point where it was very difficult for her to kind of get started and go through a few things that any one of the things that she has mentioned in this interview would have stopped anybody, but it didn't stop her. She kept taking steps. She kept learning. She kept growing. She was an ER nurse. She was helping tons of people that way. Now she's helping people attain their goals and attain their dreams. And not from a book that she's read, but from a life that she's led. She's got heart. She's one of those people that I promised you guys I would have on my show because of her heart and her tenaciousness to go out and get a deal done and stick with it and do it right. Cayla, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show. Would you please just take a few minutes, let people know where you are today, how they can get a hold of you, and maybe if they could pull one thing away from you or enroll in one thing that you have to offer, what would that one thing be?
Ooh, okay. So
I want the best.
There's so many things, right? Well, something that I do that's pretty interesting is like all of my stuff is on a closed model. So you can't just get into any of my, courses online at any time. So,
okay, got it.
So the best thing to do is if you head over to mommymillionaire.co, I have a free resource. It's all about getting more customers to say yes to you by actually doing less work. And it's all about the law of attraction. And so you can go over there and get that download for free. And then that'll add you to my email list. And I give you a ton of good info on my email list all the time. And then that's how you'll know about all of the stuff when it becomes available. So that's me. And then I'm on the Instagram,
like on the Facebook.
Yeah. And I always give motivation over there. I give like beauty and lifestyle tips, and I'm just living my life, showing you guys my 3 kids. And I talk also about my podcast over there. So it's a great way to follow me. I think if I could leave anybody with anything, just after speaking with so many women all over the world, is that, I think the number one fear that we all have is fear of abandonment. And that's why we're scared to speak in public. That's why we're scared to put ourselves out there on social media. It's because we don't want to be alone. And if I could just stress to you anything, is that you're not alone, that there are so many women and men that are in your corner supporting you and cheering you on. Even when you feel like nobody has your back, I promise you that there's somebody there, and God ultimately has your back. So just keep going, even if you feel alone.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much, guys. Please connect with her. She is the real deal. She speaks from her heart. And people ask me, they say, Henry, what could I do for you? Or some of my guests, what could I do for them? Like, I want to do something from them. We're always doing stuff for other people. And I always tell people, think of 10 people right now. If you're listening to this podcast, think of 10 people right now who could get better from listening to what we've just talked about. And take the time, take 2 minutes and share it with those 10 people. Share it on your wall, share it on wherever you can share it, but share this. That's the gift that you can give us. That's the gift you can give Cayla. What comes around goes around. Call it karma, call it do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Whatever it is, go out and share that and be your best. This is Henry the Business Fighter, Caya Craft, Mommy Millionaire. I have loved this interview, and I hope to have you on again.
Yay, thank you.
Okay, talk to you soon.